Hello, everybody, and welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Euro 2024. My name's Clayton.
My name is James.
Two games last night. Did you enjoy them? France,
Thrill
Belgium, Portugal,
Thrillers, weren't
Slovenia.
they? Both
Oh my God, I feel like I lost a
astonishingly
few,
exciting football matches.
feel
We're not
like I
even going to
lost a
talk
few
about
hours of
England
my life.
today. And yeah, maybe England was more interested. I don't know. Let's start. We're going to obviously talk last night's two games because despite the fact they weren't thrillers, there is a huge amount to unpack, particularly from the Portugal game. How was Euro fantasy for you yesterday, first, pal?
Was good. Well, in the sense of I took out Pickford, Pedri, and Morata and brought in Diogo Costa's 9-pointer, Pepe's 10-pointer, and Captain Mbappe's 2-pointer. So another captaincy blank for me, and that is me all out. I've not got anyone playing tonight, so I
No,
risked it and I flopped it. So 81 points all out in the round of 16 for me, which I don't think is
that's a good score
awful.
though, mate.
Yeah, that's what I've not really been paying attention to see what the kind of average in engaged managers is, but 81 points. I've got green arrows in all my mini leagues, so despite the
Um,
captaincy blank, I'll take it.
Well,
How'd you
the
get on?
highest score in the Planet FPL mini league is 89.
Wow.
So, I mean, 81st would have you as the joint 17th for the week.
Okay, yeah,
That's a good score at the
I'll
moment. I
take it.
think there's quite a bit disparity in terms of what people got left tonight with bits of Dutch. And I've seen a number of teams knocking about with like three Austrians and stuff. So,
Sure.
yeah, wait till it's over. But I suspect that'll be a good score. I'm going to do pretty well to match that. I mean, it's fairly clear what I need to do so. It's a captaincy return, so not that on the
Okay.
head already because, yeah, I bought in Costa for his 9 points yesterday, Thiago Hernandez for a 7 pointer, Bruno Fernandes knocking about for 4 pointer. Of course, who do I captain? Oh, yeah, the best player in the world. Regrets, I've had a few. 2 points for Kylian Mbappe. I've got Cody Gakpo left today.
Captain?
Yeah, I mean, I've already done it. I
For
would
sure.
swing it, even if Gakpo was a sub,
Yeah,
I'd swing it rather than
yeah,
just leave
makes
it on
sense.
Mbappe. So it's literally no reason to wait. So I'm on 66 with Gakpo to go. What's a goal get me? 12.78. I'd still be behind you for the week. You must have had a
Sure.
bit of a jump overall, no?
Well, I can't actually remember where I was before the week started, but I'm up to 91K. I want to say I was like 200 or something, but
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, so I feel like it's been a good round for me.
Guess what? It will definitely get worse for you today.
Why is that?
Well, because other people got players and you ain't.
Oh, I thought you were
It's fairly
insinuating like
straightforward.
I thought you were saying like someone's definitely gonna go off. Yeah. On that simple logic, of course. Yeah,
Oh
no
no,
problem.
I can tell you now that Cody Gakpo is a 1/2 pointer. That's the certainty, isn't it? 17K. I think what I would say is obviously with Portugal going through, I was thinking that'll be enough for me to probably still wildcard, even though I only had two. But other than Gakpo, my other 14 players are through. And as suggested, the quarterfinals are tough enough to call. It's like, hmm, I don't know. Yeah, I've got so
Yeah.
many players playing on night one of arguably the four strongest teams. Just take the best of whatever that is, and then sub in the players playing on day two after that, and then just deal with the semi final afterwards. And I realize there's every chance it's not going to be any easier to call for the semi finals, but I could be in a situation here, couldn't I, where I lose, multiple Spain and England players. Say if Spain and England both went out, I'm losing eight here. Whereas I might still wildcard and still go for quite a cluster of them. That
Yeah.
that's that's why I think it's just going to be hold off for me. I think personally.
I think I'm the same. Like at the mid, well, everyone's gone through for me. The only person I'm missing is Gahey because of his suspension. So
Same.
yeah, even that, I'm like Fulkrug's in there. I'll probably wait and see what happens with the Germany lineup, but I'm pretty much in the same boat as you. Just take on the first round. Uh, sorry, take on the first games with what I've got, and then reassess. Really.
Yeah, I mean, I would obviously move Gay,
Yeah,
but then the other two, it's free transfers, isn't it? The other two might just be flipping a couple of the forwards about or something, and
yeah, and you
just
can't roll them at this stage, can you?
no, you can't. So you use them, but I look at the team, it's not wildly off what I'd probably go with. I would maybe gamble on quite a bit of Switzerland defensively, maybe even,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
no, I think I'd probably wait. I'm only saying that to tempt fate. We said we wouldn't talk England. Let's talk the two games from yesterday.
Yeah, France won, Belgium nil.
So I think I'm better at analyzing than predicting.
Go on. What was the prediction and what's your analysis?
Well, my prediction was that this would be a shit game of football. I've been quite
Oh, so you
consistent
nailed it.
I'm quite consistent on saying that from last week. But the reason it was shit wasn't quite for the reasons that I thought, because the team lineups dropped and the intrigue intensified quite a bit when I saw the Belgium lineup. So there was some speculation in the French press that it was going to be a diamond in midfield. And judging by the team, you could definitely foresee, right? Yeah, Thuram and Mbappe up front, Griezmann at the tip of the diamond, the three behind that, back four as per usual. Wasn't that? It was very much a 4-3-3 for France, and Mbappe actually played on the left rather than drifted out to that position. Griezmann played from the right. So it was very much a 4-3-3, which I think feels like their most solid base. The Belgian team dropped, and there was quite a bit of conversation of what is this?
Yeah, I was confused when I saw it.
Yeah, because it dropped with only one central midfielder in there,
Yeah.
in Amadou Onana. And playing France didn't feel like the time to go, hey, let's just go with a Openda up front instead of Lukaku. And I'm thinking everything, I've not seen a lot of Openda, but everything I know about him, he's centre forward.
Yeah.
So was he going to play wide? And you think, well, they're not short of wide players. Czechs, yep, Doku and Carrasco in the team. Is he going to go 5-4-1 and play a Pender in a wide position? But even still, that leaves De Bruyne as one of the two central midfield players. Seemed like an interesting time to make the sort of call. It was a 4-4-2 essentially, um, but it had so many limitations. The two wide players ended up really deep. Carrasco quite often kind of floated into almost like a right back position. And Doku ended up really deep as well, which meant that when he did get on it, his distance from goal was just so far
Yeah.
that rather than being like one on one with Kunde, he'd have, say, Kante coming across as well and stuff. I think, well, the one thing about Doku is he's great 1v1 dribbler. He might be erratic with the end product. I've been quite critical of him historically, but you don't want him having to carry it from that deep.
No.
You want him further up the pitch. And De Bruyne in central midfield, I don't want to say it didn't work, but similarly as well, you've taken Doku from a really high position, which is really threatening. And the one thing you would have acknowledged from Belgium's opening games is get De Bruyne in it in the hole and then push him into Lukaku or Doku or whoever's playing on the right from there was at the top end working quite nicely for him. So now he's got to do it from much deeper. And I'm watching him actually, and I'm thinking, you could be in this later part of your career someone who's more like a Tony Cruz, for example. Like you're capable. De
He's
Bruyne's
capable of
good
it,
enough
yeah.
in his quality. He's got the long range distance of what he's doing, etc. But I still think he's still a big threat for you at the top end. And you don't really want him moving side to side so much. I think at City, he's largely been protected quite a bit over the last couple of years, partly because of his injuries, but also to make sure he's high. It's the same thing for City, isn't it? If you win it back into De Bruyne and the big Norwegian's
Yeah.
off on his bike, right? And it's similar here with Lukaku's. I just felt structurally like it didn't work. But then I'm also sitting there watching the game and thinking, France aren't doing a lot here.
No,
I
I got the
really
same
feel like they're
feeling.
hurting. And just before France scored, I'm thinking, Belgium be so delighted to get to extra time here.
Yeah.
Because neither side's done enough to deserve to win this.
No,
What was your
no.
take?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I just didn't really enjoy the game, and
Nah, I'm not
yeah,
surprised.
it did feel like a bit of a chore watching it. If I'm being honest, but yeah, I feel like neither side were able to kind of get enough of the ball in sustained periods to create high quality chances. Lukaku, for such a strong big guy, his hold up play was poor. Nothing stuck with him. I felt like Saliba did, other than one moment where he dribbled out and that nearly gave Belgium a chance. I
That
thought
was when
he,
Hernandez made that great recovery tackle, wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
that was a brilliant recovery tackle. And yeah, Saliba was at fault for that. But other than that, I thought he was fantastic defensively with dealing with Lukaku. And
I'd cut in and say one more, actually. I think he's probably been the best centre back at this tournament.
yeah, I would agree with that. He's been brilliant. And it's mad to think that I think I'm not as tuned in to the French kind of conversations, but I think the general vibe I got was he wasn't considered like the favoured choice
Yeah,
to.
and most people thought he wasn't going to start the
Yeah.
tournament. Yeah.
So yeah, he was impressive. But yeah, in terms of my take, not much more to add other than what you've covered already, to be honest. Unfortunate own goal from Vertonghen at the end. And do you see Mbappe giving it some as well?
He's going to go down this rabbit hole of someone else we're about to talk about very shortly. Who's just like
Yeah.
it's just going to become disliked by a lot of people. It was the same after they beat England in the World Cup. There was that face he pulled. I can't remember if he did it at someone or not. Was it? He was laughing about something, wasn't it? Was it after Kane missed the penalty? He was
That was it.
laughing, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. I think
And
to be, well,
there
not
are
to be.
elements about him that are dislikable from that perspective.
Yeah, I guess it's all the elite players, right? They've got something like that. And I think with that one, to add some context, like Vertonghen and him did have a little
Yes.
handbag moment earlier in the game. So yeah, but they got the job done, France. This is what they do. Like they've got the trophy in their back pocket to kind of justify the way
Have
they.
they?
I don't mean from this like for this tournament. I mean like they've won a major tournament recently, right? So I don't know.
Is it though? I mean, Deschamps is what, one trophy. If they don't win this, is one trophy in six, I think. I want to say. And they've gone really deep in a lot of tournaments across that
Yeah.
period. But I don't know. Would you maybe reflect on that afterwards and go one in six with this group?
Well, this is what
We
I
often
tweeted.
go into tournaments and think they've got the strongest squad. Ironically,
Yeah,
maybe we thought about Portugal going into this one.
that's the thing. Like I tweeted basically last night saying, I wonder if the French kind of community are having same conversations that England are. Well, some England fans are. And I look at that French squad, and same as you, when it comes out every tournament, I'm like, wow, that's one of the best there. And I wonder if they can get so much more out of that group.
But this works for them. I think what I would definitely say on the French, rather than just be critical, is like, look, you've beat Belgium, which is a challenging game in the last 16. You've won it, and when you look at the underlying from the game, you can't really ace 19 shots to five, for example. Not that
Yeah,
France
and
created
nullified
a huge
Belgium to
amount, and
nothing.
obviously
Yeah,
the goal is a weird freak of a goal. It was the sort of goal that the game deserved, actually. It
yeah,
didn't deserve a great moment. But defensively, they're outstanding. I think they're the best team defensively, not just through goalkeeper and back four. I think Chumeni back in the team in front of that is
yeah.
an
He's brilliant.
outstanding player. I really do that fella's got a real high ceiling of where he's going. And to contradict, a few people have even said they'll be better off for the quarter final because Rabiot will be suspended. I saw a few of our patrons saying yesterday playing with Rabiot is like playing with 10 men,
Ah,
which is particularly harsh.
that is quite harsh.
But you've also forgot that playing with Kante is still like playing with an extra player. So
True.
still,
Do
you've still got 11 because Kante is two people.
you think it'll
And
be
you
Camavinga that comes in then?
could play Griezmann deeper.
Who do you think would come
That
in then?
doesn't work for me on the right. But I imagine, yes, it will be something like that for Portugal because the one thing that Deschamps will certainly be wary of with Portugal is they'll retain the ball well and they've got
Yeah.
some good players in there and he won't want to get outnumbered in that midfield area. So I imagine, yes, it probably would be a 4-3-3. Um, whether he might want to put Mbappe back through the middle to go up against Pepe, maybe.
Yeah.
But then Cancelo likes to leave space on that right hand side, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So, but I think the 4-3-3 will probably stick for France now. And they're going to be a very, very difficult team to beat. I'd like to see how they defended against Spain specifically. I'd really like to see because of those two flyers
The two
in the
wingers,
wide
yeah.
positions. But yeah, solid as they are. I think I said this after the drew with the Netherlands. They are going to be a more difficult team to beat than stop, despite having what most people think is the best player in the world. They don't frighten. If you took Mbappe out that team,
I know what you
they
mean,
don't frighten.
but I don't want to say too much out loud, but I know exactly
We
what
ain't
you
getting to the
mean.
final, Clates. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
yeah, fair,
we
fair
ain't
point.
we ain't gonna play them.
No, yeah, you are right. They don't really scare me, but I feel like it's the sort of thing if they have a 10-minute period where they just click, they could blow you away, but I
Oh, well,
haven't really.
Mbappe beat anyone on his own, right? If he has a
Yeah,
moment. So, and that's all you need. And we've seen him come alive later in tournaments and stuff as well, where perhaps there's a little bit more. Might play against the Spain and find himself. France, I'd think if France played Spain at the moment, I'd really fancy Spain. but it might just work for France with the pace they've got on the counter that Spain will leave the space and they might exploit it.
Yeah.
They've obviously got a challenging game to beat Portugal first. I think for Belgium, that you can't be hugely disappointed with losing to France. It would have been expected. They cocked it up a little bit in their group and could have avoided this scenario. But underwhelming. And there's just a repetitive theme. I feel like
Yeah, it's
nearly
deja
every
vu, isn't
tournament
it?
they go out, it feels like that. You've got some good players coming through. I felt a bit sorry for Anana yesterday. He had one moment where he dawdled on the ball for so long
Yeah, but he
and
was
got
left
caught
foot.
out, but I think he got left isolated quite badly,
Yeah.
just because of De Bruyne's unfamiliarity with playing probably kind of basically a double pivot,
Yeah.
basically.
Strange decision.
Yeah, I thought the selection was strange, but then yeah, I suppose if you'd have offered them extra time at the start of the game, probably would have taken it. So
Yeah.
the other game
Ha.
was wild without being wild. Um,
The Ronaldo show. Portugal nil, Slovenia nil. Portugal win on pens 3-0.
can we firstly say what an effort that is from Slovenia? And I know there's
Yeah,
a lot of people,
unbelievable.
oh, they're defensive, they're dull, they're boring. But and I know there was a lot of criticism of the actual football match last night. I enjoyed this way more than the France game.
I enjoyed it more than a France game, agree.
Because this had that real you know what you're watching. You are watching David versus Goliath here, essentially, right? Um, and Portugal should go and win the football match easy. I think we obviously, having seen Slovenia play against us last week, knew exactly what they are. We spoke a lot about their 4-4-2. They're difficult to play against because a lot of teams funnel into 4-4-2 without the ball, but they are stationary within it. So hold their positions. They don't get pulled apart much. It's
No,
difficult to create openings against them. But the work off the ball, you kept thinking
phenomenal.
they're going to be out on their feet in a minute. And it just seemed to get stronger the way it went on. All four, all of the back four basically picked up near intentional yellow cards,
Yeah.
to just clear out moments of real danger. You can be critical of that or you can like that. They put in a real effort. And in the moment that Sesko had
Oh my
in the
God.
115th minute, and I really like him, by the way. You know, you get some players, I'm going to use a comparison that's slightly unfair, but I'm going to do it anyway. Rasmus Højlund clearly has really good capability and potential. Sesko, when he strides away and you feel like he's going to get his shot away, you have a, oh, he might, I'm fifth. There's definitely something there. There's more power
Yeah.
in his shooting and stuff. When he went through, I thought he would score.
Yeah, same. Didn't really doubt it.
Um, the way it unfolded with, you could see Pepe's legs had gone, which is
Yeah.
completely, and he played fine again, Pepe. 41 years of age, coming towards the extra time, you could see he was beginning to struggle and they were going to take him off. And he's had a moment where he stepped inside and he's like his legs just, someone took him
Yeah,
from
just
beneath
gave
him.
way. Yeah.
And the amount of time that it took for Sesko to go through, not because he was slow, but it felt like we used the one yesterday about Fabian Schär's header
Yeah.
against Italy. It was like it was in the air for ages. When he went through, it felt like it was taking forever. But it was no way of Pepe getting back to him. And obviously, Diogo Costa's made a great save.
Great goalkeeping. Yeah.
The theme of this is, of course, Ronaldo. We don't have to pretend differently. What's your reaction to, firstly, him?
I feel like there's a few incidents, right?
I mean, I wasn't sure if you were going to turn up for this podcast or if he was just going to take the call instead because Jose Font's in the studio doing the game for BBC, and they even said to him, it was like, did anyone ever say to him, look, that Ronnie, you might want to get off this free kick? It's like, no one
No.
would say that to
Yeah.
him. The one that got everyone, I think, especially was the free kick he took right near the end of the first half
37th minute. Right. And
when
yeah.
when he went wide, and even Nico said to me, he was like, "What are you doing?" It's like you've got more. He's obviously desperate to score. We could all see it really
Yeah.
early in the game. He hasn't scored yet in the group stage. It would be sixth consecutive European Championship if he scored. He's obviously desperate to do it. I get it, right? And that hunger in him is, by the way, what still makes him great, right? His
Yeah. Yeah.
movement in and around the box still incredible, etc. But as he's gone to take that, and obviously the referee moved the ball back a few yards as well to make it worse. I'm watching it. I'm thinking, your best chance of scoring here, mate. He's getting a box.
Literally, exact same thought process. Yeah.
We had a discussion on a Patreon podcast we did last Thursday about Harry Kane taking corners for England against Iceland.
Yep.
And that's what went through my head.
Exact
Your
same for
best
me.
chance of scoring is getting in a box. He's not
Yeah.
shooting from there, mate. He's a
Yeah.
1 in 100.
Yeah. I don't get it. And like, I mean, one of the free kicks was close, but I think with him, like my kind of summary take on it is so much respect for the guy. Like what he's done and achieved, he's one of the greats. Like not saying anything I think anyone doesn't believe there, but I think that it's hard to get the wording right on this. The ego, and I do think the element of me over the team sometimes is absolutely mind-boggling for me. Like I free kicks as an example, I'm sure there are better free kick takers than him in the Portugal team. Like just get some time. What's his record? Not scored one in 60 attempts.
No, they
One in
don't have other
60.
good free kicks. There's no Bruno Fernandes.
And
There's no Bernardo
exactly.
Silva. There's no João Cancelo. There's no one else in that team.
But surely,
I'm sure Vitinha would take a good one as
yeah,
well.
but surely it gets to a stage where you just like the nation comes before my record, and I get it, he's got records to chase, but I genuinely think he holds them back sometimes with how he is, and his movement is still absolutely phenomenal. Like even I know he didn't really get well, he didn't score, but some of his movement in some
I
passages
felt
was unbelievable.
it was the first time we've watched him and I felt a bit sorry for him with some of the crosses
Yeah,
because his movement, he's out to in the way he pulls people
yeah,
apart and creates space for
my,
himself. I mean, Gary Lineker said it is like the best I've ever seen in terms of
yeah.
movement in the penalty box. And it was the first time I'd watched him and I thought, oh, you're getting your timing a bit wrong.
Okay,
And that's not on him. I think his body changing.
yeah, fair.
And what he's doing at his age is still phenomenal. The stuff with the free kicks and all that, it did become a bit of a circus in the end. And
Yeah.
I'm sure most of us watching it, I mean, you ain't scoring
Yeah, I think
for
that's
any
it.
of them.
For me. I get him still because, like you said, that kind of mentality belief is the reason he is where he is. But like, so when he's taking shots that are kind of fairly central from free kicks, I don't hate them one so much. It was that one on the 37th minute, exactly what you said. I was like, what are you
You're in
doing?
the
Just
box, mate.
get in the box, like. And the thing with him crying when he missed the penalty, like I feel like the pylon was quite harsh on that personally.
I
Just
agree
and
with that.
just from the perspective of like I can't fathom what the emotion is like to be in that scenario where you've got I do feel like he still probably feels the pressure of the nation on his back, even though he shouldn't because of the quality around him. So although I thought his decision to take that free kick at that 37th minute was a bit embarrassing, I thought the pylon for him crying was way OTT personally.
Unfortunately, you know, I'm not excusing it. You know that pylon. Suj said it to us in a chat that the pylon, unfortunately, is going to happen online. And that's
Yeah,
that's what I said to Suj, but Suj wasn't happy with the pylon online. And I get that. But unfortunately, people, particularly on social media, revel in other people's misery.
yeah. And don't
It's a
get me wrong,
reality.
I
And in
am
that moment, he's miserable. He
with
is a human being, but he's
yeah,
such a global superstar that I think like we forget that there's a human being there.
yeah.
But also, I also do understand the perspective of he does my nut in a bit. Like there's a lot of people who dislike him.
Yeah, and
And
don't get me wrong.
unfortunately, again, I'm not excusing it, but it's part come with the territory of this global. This, you can have your debate about best ever player or whatever, but I
But
suppose
he's
in
up
terms
there
of
in the
a global
conversation.
superstar, nobody walking this earth doesn't know who Cristiano Ronaldo is.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't, right? And he has to face that. Even in the game against Albania, you seen the fan that tries to jump down the tunnel on
Yeah.
him.
I saw
You know,
that.
the
Yeah.
shit that he has to carry around with him. In the Turkey game, was 3 or 4 pitch invasions. People just want to like. He's so self-centered on him, and it's not as he's kind of disappeared out of our vision going to Saudi Arabia, but
Yeah.
it's not disappeared out of the world psyche of what a he can't walk down the street, can he?
No, no.
He lives a life that's completely different to all of us. And the stick that he would have got online for the missing the penalty. I'd like to think that people are more like, "Ah, okay, you missed the penalty." The human reaction afterwards and people, what you crying for and stuff like that. Well, I did a podcast with you. We did some nostalgia pods about previous Euros, and we spoke on those quite a lot about English hooliganism.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that I thought might have part broke the cycle was Gascoigne crying in Italia 90.
Yeah, you do.
This bastion of a man that everyone's looking up to and actually seeing that there's a moment of weakness there, something that we wouldn't see. You don't get footballers crying on a football pitch. And this isn't normal. That is, it's also okay to still think at the same time, like in that moment for Gascoigne, he's been told you can't play in a World Cup final,
Yeah.
arguably been the best player in the tournament. And he's a young boy, he was like 21 at the time, right? I also get the people saying there's 15 minutes to
That
go.
I was just
You're
gonna say
still the
that. Yeah.
favourites of the team. You're captain of the team. Pull yourself together a little bit
Yeah.
because it feels like, and it's wrong to judge this, but it felt like a lot of his reaction was him.
That yeah.
It
Exactly.
didn't when he scored the penalty in a shootout, which is a blinding, by the way,
Great.
right? Just
Yeah.
compose yourself, and he buries it right in the bottom corner, and he gives it the apology. That was almost you recognized in that moment the backward a human way. He's obviously going to his supporters like, I'm sorry, you shouldn't be going through this bit because I and
Yeah.
then he's taking the burden back on himself. I should have scored earlier. That's how it feels. But in that moment where he's crying, I think most people are just looking at that and going, "You ain't scored yet,"
Yeah.
and that's why
But
you're crying, not because Portugal aren't winning. And it's probably a combination of everything.
yeah, yeah,
It's just got on
100%.
top of him.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, don't get me wrong. This is a cruel train of thought, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't find it funny when he missed, just with the context of everything of how the game was going.
And it's okay
But
for you to think that.
but then it was more when I saw the crying, I was like, oh shit. I
But it
didn't,
wouldn't have mattered
yeah.
if it was Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, Cancelo, whoever. It was, I want the underdog to win because this
Yeah,
is it's more
exactly.
fun. And
Yeah.
also, I just think France and Portugal will be fucking shit again as well. Anyway,
Yeah,
it's not
probably.
the better game on Friday would be Spain against Germany. I'm fairly certain of that.
Yeah, 100%.
So I wasn't that bothered, and then I was thinking, well, yeah, I will wild card with like five French in it. If
Oh,
Slovenia
really?
go through, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Oh, if
If
Slovenia went
Slovenia go through, yeah, blanket France defense and all
yeah,
that, yeah, yeah, I could see that sort of thing. So I think it's still okay in that moment where you've got again to go back David versus Goliath when he misses the penalty. You shouldn't sit there and go, oh, I feel bad for him.
no,
When you then see the reaction,
that was it.
I
Yeah,
understand that there's a mix
yeah,
because my initial reaction was the same as yours. Like, oh my God, this guy is fated. That's how it felt. It felt a bit like Lukaku against Romania. No matter
yeah,
what this guy does here, he's not going to score.
yeah,
But then when you see the human reaction, okay. And then you remember.
yeah. I felt a bit like sorry for him, which was a bit
I
weird.
was
But
really pleased that he didn't miss the penalty in the shootout,
yeah, I was. I
actually.
can't lie.
And I'd happily sit here and go, I don't really like him because
No,
I
neither
think
do I. But I
there's so
respect
many,
him. Yeah,
there's
as a
100%
as a
respect.
footballer.
Yeah. 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 100%. Some of the things that have come across in terms of starting from the diving when he was at Manchester United, the showboating, the wink to Rooney, etc. Around things in his career where he's come off quite arrogant
Mate, he's
and
ruined
distant
Arsenal
from the
many
normal
times as
human.
well.
But then I've also just said he can't be like a normal human, right?
Yeah,
Can't go to the shop, can't do anything. Um, so I was pleased he didn't miss the penalty in the shoot. Even then I thought, no, that's one too many. And it
yeah.
may have helped him that obviously Costa had already saved one of the penalties at that point. I was also pleased that he went first, which I know
Okay.
Roberto Martinez spoke about after the game. Roberto Martinez said after the game, he said he had to go first.
Right. Okay.
But we've seen Ronaldo go last in shootouts in the past. And because I was thinking as well, if they go out on penalties and he doesn't even get to take one, which is what happened when they lost to Spain, I think in
Yes.
2012, which he got stick for. But then I also get when you break it down, the fifth one essentially is a sudden death penalty.
Yeah.
So there is a case to have one of your stronger penalty takers as your fifth. But I thought if it goes that way where he's last again and he doesn't even take one and they lose,
Yeah. He's not gonna get over that
yeah.
for a long
So
time.
I was despite wanting Slovenia to win the game all the way through, I was quite pleased afterwards that he'll get his another day.
Yeah.
And when they get beat 4-1 by France on Friday, he might score the goal. They won't.
Do you think they would be better off without him, Portugal?
I don't know. I don't feel as strongly as this as I did in the World Cup. In the World Cup, I was really clear that they would be better off taking him out. And I think we saw that in the last 16
What's
games. They beat Switzerland like 6-1, didn't they?
yeah? What's changed in your mind since then,
I
though?
think what's changed is the quality behind actually is stronger.
Okay.
And Michael Richards did a really good piece in terms of them pressing as a unit that takes the burden off expectation of him to do it. They've actually been one of the better pressing teams in this tournament, Portugal. And you think, well, with Ronaldo, that's probably quite tough. But they structure it and layer it so he doesn't have to put too much work in. He just stopped passing lines and stuff like that. Because you do want to preserve him, right? There's no point him running around like a dog and then not being able to get in the positions you want him to get to. And I also think the quality behind he's so good
Yeah.
that they'll create for him. And like I said, I just think on a cut the headers, he got his timing wrong. And a different day, he scores and they'll win the game. And it's Ronaldo's the hero, etc., etc. I tell you what, they mustn't do as a team, more importantly than whether Ronaldo plays again or not. On the hour mark where they made their first change, they took the best player off the pitch,
Was that
which was
Vitinha?
Vitinha.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah, he was great.
And when he went off, they were nowhere near as good.
Mm.
Interestingly, as well, he obviously pushes up and almost joins Fernandez as kind of like two kind of 8-10 hybrids in a 4-1-4-1. And obviously, leave in this system, Paulinho is a real deep anchor player who we know is an outstanding ball winner. But what's interesting about that is, and this Paulinho did win 9 tackles last
Yeah,
night, which the Sky guys all know. Yeah, it's just the Paulinho
that's what
thing.
he does.
Despite them obviously having so much of the ball, 72% across the whole 120 minutes. But they ignore him on the ball.
Hmm.
And I almost felt like you'd have been better off at 0-0 with half hour to go. Just letting Vitinha go and get the ball off the back line if that's what you wanted to do. Good. I was looking at him yesterday because I've been saying I've been searching for a number 6 for Tottenham. And I don't know if he could do it. But the way he plays on the ball, I think, yeah, you could. You could feed it into him back to goal and he just wriggles away out of little tight spots and stuff. Brilliant little player. Quite
Yeah.
diminutive for a
Yeah.
central midfield player, which isn't so common now. But yeah, really, really good player. I can hear Bradley Parker, our Wolves correspondent, in my ear because he still cannot be. Yes, he was at Wolves. Yes. You don't
Yeah.
remember that? No, no, the many of us. Yeah, but he was
I
at
do
Wolves.
because of our Slack channel.
Yes, what a really good footballer. I thought the two fullbacks were outstanding.
Cancelo in particular, my God.
Um, Cancelo, the longer it went on in the second half, was drifting into the Pedro Porro positions, as I now like to call them. And Jan Malaka, who played left wing for Slovenia, my God, I mean, just had to chase him all
Yeah.
over the place. And he actually stuck to his task pretty well. But Cancelo had some moments where he looked like he was going to be Portugal's most threatening player. And Nuno Mendes really goes some on the left hand side as well. And defensively, pretty solid. I mean, we've spoken about Ronaldo a lot and we've mentioned the Pepe moment, but what Pepe's doing at his age is
Yeah.
incredible, by the
Even for
way.
Porto against Arsenal, he was phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you said that. When obviously you played him in the Champions League, we know about Ruben Diaz's quality. The goalkeeper is really good. And one key point on Portugal, and then we'll quote Nico. He said, I knew we'd win like this. This is what we do. Don't worry
Okay.
about us.
Is that what he said? Yeah.
And when he says don't worry about us, he's not saying, oh, we'll definitely beat France, but he's saying that basically it's in their makeup or their nature for whatever reason to make it really bloody difficult for themselves. Like if Portugal can do it the hard way, they'll do it the hard way. Go and look at them in qualifying for previous tournaments. You was like, they made hard work of that. They always do.
Yeah.
They always do.
Which
But
is
now they're
interesting
in
because
the
the
big moment of the
Portuguese
quarterfinal, and they've got
Portuguese
players who can
lifestyle is
win it.
very sossegado, relaxed. So yeah, that's interesting.
Susagard, yeah.
Yeah, that's what my granddad used to say. It's just like relax.
I don't think that would be a great game Friday night again, because I think the two teams will probably be more in fear of each other. I would expect probably Portugal to have more of the ball. No, and I think France are very comfortable with that.
Okay.
Um, don't be surprised if it's another 0-0 and hits extra time.
There were moments where Cancelo against better opposition could have got caught out positionally as well.
Well, that's why I
So
mentioned would France consider putting
yeah.
Mbappe out there and just leaving him there? Because that's a real question then, what you do. Because then
Mm,
you can say, well, what are you dragging over? If Cancelo's higher and you've got an Mbappe playing on the left, what do Portugal do to alleviate that? Well, one, Paulinho definitely plays and will probably have more of a lean to the right hand side because he'd have a little bit more of a lean to the left hand side, I felt last night. But if you're dragging across Diaz and then Pepe's getting left 1v1 centrally, you're in trouble.
big trouble.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
be surprised if France have 35 to 40% of the ball and win
Yeah, I could see that as well.
narrowly, like
Yeah,
1-0 with with a very good counter-attacking goal.
yeah,
I think it'll be low scoring.
yeah. So do I. The penalties obviously Costa 5 minutes to go in extra time, made a big save, and then came in clutch. Three penalty saves.
Yeah. I remember you mentioned obviously the Champions League game Porto had with Arsenal, and I'm pretty sure I said this to you as well that when it went to a shootout, I was like, Costa will definitely save one.
Yeah, but
Those
Arsenal
with us who
penalty
played
takers that
UCL
day. Yeah?
fantasy know him as a bit of a legend UCL fantasy because he had this free game period, not last season, but the season
Season
before.
before.
He had penalty save, assist
Yeah,
in 3 consecutive games. And so I wasn't surprised that I mean this is the first goalkeeper ever to keep a clean sheet in a penalty shootout in the European Championship, which is remarkable. It has happened in the World Cup before, by the way. Switzerland, Ukraine, that famous
okay.
game from 2006. But yeah, the 3 good saves. They're not. I mean, I would certainly make the case that the Slovenian penalties were at a good height for him, but it's still good saves. They're not terrible penalties. They're decent penalties. They're 3 good saves. He's a very good goalkeeper,
Yeah, very good.
and he's certainly capable of playing for one of the elite world football teams. I would say. Um,
Still quite young as well. I think he's like 24 or something.
What's his age? I'll tell you. He is, Clates. He is 24, yeah,
He is
which is
24,
probably
yeah.
just a year too old for Chelsea. But yeah, someone he's not gonna be at Porto for his whole career. He might be
No,
very happy there, but at some point he's 24. He's got a long bit of his career to go. He's a very, very, very good shot stopping goalkeeper. He's probably one of the best in the world from that aspect now.
yeah, but I can't confess to have seen him enough to make a judgment like that. But yeah, I'll take your word for it.
I hope Ronaldo scores on Friday.
Yeah, I do. It's yeah, it's a bit weird seeing him like this, but I think I am more as much as I respect him and stuff. I think I am in the camp of like the team comes before any individual, and so there is a large element of me not really rating the motivation behind.
When I say I hope he scores, I obviously won't lose any sleep over it if he doesn't. Um, but it is easy to forget with someone like that is a human being now, and
Yeah,
even that to relate back to England and the poor performances and stuff. No one out there is not trying. I didn't when I you could be quite critical of Portugal's performance last night and large aspects of it. See anyone at Portuguese team not trying, just struggled to open up a really, really dogged opponent. And to repeat some of the comments I made yesterday about these teams are getting bloody tough to beat.
yeah,
They're organized and well coached.
yeah, very much so.
Are Portugal, we'll answer that question, I think, next week, if they are
Okay.
or not. Because certainly the question marks still lie on Martinez. And I thought personally, I thought taking Vitinha off the pitch was
Yeah, I thought
nuts.
that was bonkers. Yeah, same. Lovely
Cheers, guys.
stuff. On to the final round of games. Romania,
Yes. Do we get 2
Netherlands.
more favourites win today? Netherlands, Austria.
I think so, yeah. That's my predictions.
And then it'll be near enough the eight favourites to go through, bar Switzerland, Italy. Was as I said to you on Friday's Patreon podcast, was the closest one in the bookmakers' minds, but didn't feel close on what we
No.
watched. Good stuff. We'll talk those 2 games tonight, tomorrow, and I suppose we'll probably be able to confirm if wildcards are getting activated for the semi-final or not at that stage. It's probably going to be a no for me. The football will be better today, but it might not be as dramatic. Cue music, please, man, child.